Welcome back to our second episode of Passion, Purpose, Profit Podcast, an extension of AJCO, which is a virtual coaching business for women CEOs. And it is sponsored today by our favorite installation company, Simply Smart Techs. Make sure you check them out online at www.simplysmarttechs.com or give them a call if you need your TV hung or your smart home installed for the holidays at 904-729-1651. So I am your host, Allegra Jackson. Look me up on LinkedIn or find me on Facebook and Instagram at Allegra Jackson CEO. Today, we are bringing up a very important topic, especially coming off of a long catastrophic year for everyone. A lot of businesses are now shut down, outdated, pivoted due to the economic shift that we have going on. Many are still facing depression and stress, especially now that the holidays are here. Now, this is already a stressful time for us in general, but now we're coming off of this year. It's even more stressful for a lot of people. Plus, we actually are trying to get back to some type of normalcy in our world. But there's something that, erupted this past year that we want to really focus a lot on, and that is the Black Lives Matter movement, which I feel like is a very important topic for us not to lose focus on. We actually have had a lot happen this year with our presidency. And now that we're in a different frame of mind, I want to say, we can, kind of pivot our drama and start having some more conversations about Black lives and what's happening today and how we can move forward into the world and help us, just be good human beings, basically. So this is basically something that I want to really talk deep about with my special guest today. Her name is Markeisha Harris-Minor. She is actually a really special guest for me because I actually found her on Facebook, which right now, not Facebook, let me take that back. Instagram, one of the biggest business marketing tools I feel is out there today. Markeisha Harris-Minor is the founder of Blocal Search and Dreamcatcher Network. After receiving her bachelor's in psychology from Virginia Commonwealth University, Markeisha started her career working with impoverished low-income adults and families suffering from mental illness. Now she is changing the lives in the Black community with her business, Blocal Search, which is the largest nationwide directory for Black-owned businesses. So hello, Markeisha, and thank you for joining us.
Very welcome. Thank you so much, Allegra. You've done so much for me. So when you asked me to come on, this was a no-brainer. I made sure that I was going to be available.
That's awesome. I love being around powerful women. So you really make my circle matter a lot. You are doing a lot in to change the world. I feel very passionate about it as well. I know our initial conversations when we first connected through me, I think, reaching out to you on the telephone and just saying, hey, I really like what you're doing and I want to be a part of that. And you were just so open door policy about everything and allowed me to be a part of the organization and help out. So I really appreciate that. And I want to let you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and how you essentially became this entrepreneur, this vicious boss babe out here running the streets and doing what you do.
Well, I appreciate your kind words. That means a lot. Sometimes I have to look in the mirror and tell myself those things because we don't always look at everything that we're doing. And I know for me, sometimes when I just sit back and think, I'm like, you know what? I have done a lot. And I've just been thankful for this journey, especially how it started out with my own career and pursuing being an entrepreneur. Because as you stated, I graduated from VCU. My bachelor's degree was in psychology. So after I kind of got pushed out of corporate America, because I would have still been there, honestly, if it wasn't some things that happened that I think put me on the path where I was supposed to be, I would have been trying to climb the ladder. But after I was still there, it was maybe a year after I graduated, working in a financial world that had nothing to do with my degree. But when I got, pushed out, so to say, I started doing mental health. I did that for about 5 years. I enjoyed being able to help others. That's a passion of mine, which has kind of led me to being an entrepreneur, working with other business owners as a consultant, and then with kind of my focus now being Black-owned businesses with Blocal Search, the directory that I have. I've noticed that when it's time for me to move, that's when I start to get pushed out of situations. That's what happened. And it's never like a bad thing, but it's just a very hard nudging. So being in the mental health field, it's what I thought I wanted. I'm not saying it may not be something that I revisit as far as working with that population, but it wasn't serving me anymore at the time. What I was doing, I was burnt out. It wasn't as fulfilling, and I didn't feel like I was doing as much as I could. So I was holding on to it, holding on with a death grip, like, I don't know if I'm ready to move. Finally, I set a date, and I was to leave the companies that I worked for January 2020. But, I wasn't supposed to last that long. I got pushed out a couple of months sooner. I had already started doing what I was doing as far as with consulting. I had those that I were working with already. Most of them were family and friends, because that's how the Dreamcatcher network got to start, how it started out. I would see people that needed assistance with something, me being me. I'm like, hey, is it something I could do? Or I have an idea that can help get you closer to what it is you're trying to achieve. Or then even people coming to me because they know that I may be resourceful, or that I could help them figure out how to do something. So I was doing that part-time, and then I started doing it full-time. This was November of 2019. And how I got,
okay.
Yeah. So I've had my year anniversary of doing the Dreamcatcher network, which was it's been exciting.
That is wonderful.
Yes. And how I got into Blocal Search. So the majority of my clients, all except one, they were all African American. And the thing was, I saw that they were all looking to get exposure. Whether they were just starting or something they were already doing, they wanted to take their business to the next level. And I noticed that they had amazing services and products to offer. They were products and services that people needed and definitely would purchase and invest their money in. So I was like, okay, so what is it that I can do to help to get these people in front of consumers? Because I was already plugging. I was telling business owners about each other. If somebody needed a logo, somebody needed headshot, somebody needed a website done. If I just knew people in general that could benefit from their services, they needed family photos. They needed cakes for birthday parties or events or whatever. I was just always making sure that I was telling people about these business owners that I work closely with. So I was doing a lot. I was really doing a lot. And I sat back one day, and I'll never forget, I was sitting on my couch and I was like, you know what? I can literally see the Black dollar recycling in front of my eyes just from what I'm doing alone. So I was like, how can I replicate this? And how can I have it so that people don't always have to come to me and ask, well, where can I find, this business is Black owned that can do this? Or, I don't have to try to be everywhere at one time. It's in a central location. So that's how Blocal Search came about. I was like, you know what? Create a directory. From there, I felt really good about it. I put my money into getting the app developed. I do have a story with that. I used my last because I felt really good about it. And I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
It's an investment. And when you invest in something, you're expecting to get it back. So, I know I wouldn't have been without for long. So I did what I had to do. Once I got the app developed, I pulled a few all-nighters. I started getting a good number of businesses in there, just listing them myself. Started telling people about it. And, the next thing I know, we're here. It's just a little more to the story, but it feels like a whirlwind how everything has really happened.
Well, I know no one will ever know all the ins and outs about, what you go through as an entrepreneur in the darkest of times, in the loneliness of times. We all, have our own experiences. So I completely understand. And it seems like you developed your brand out of a real true passion and a need for, your community, our community, the world, essentially, because diversity is essential. We really need to make sure that we're bringing up diversity in all types of areas in business, especially because economically, as you said, you could see that dollar recycling in front of you. You could see how it was building the wealth for, your Black businesses that you were working with and how they were benefiting from that. And if something could, like you said, if you could replicate that in the system,
Right.
then that would work for a nation, the world, essentially. I mean, who knows how big that could be, because it's just really about being good humans, like I said.
Yeah.
So I love that, that you did that. Now you said something that was really key in there. I mean, well, you said a few key things, but something that kind of pulled out one of the questions that I was going to talk to you about. One thing that I know in our industry, especially, we did this on our last podcast, talking about venture capitalism funding in our businesses as far as when it comes to diversity groups, with Black business owners, especially. I work with I consult a lot of Black-owned businesses as well, helping them, build a lot of women entrepreneurs, and we do fund ourselves. We spend a lot of our own money without, and it's mostly because we don't know where to get the funding from, or we don't have that, that backup already, like family, friends, and people who will just give us the money in our lives. Sometimes we don't, we just venture capitalists. We know that there's a very gender bias stigma there as well. So, white males get 60% more capital funding. The rest of 40% venture marketing capitalist groups are actually just, kind of giving diversity funding here and there, but it's very limited. So I think that what you're doing is really going to bring a lot of attention to the Black community and things like that. What do you say to, because you already said you're self-funded, what do you say to another Black business or a woman entrepreneur, because we do focus a lot on women on this podcast, when they are starting their own business and they're struggling with looking for that funding and having those times where they're just like, yeah, like I got to pay my bills. Like, I mean, I got to take care of my kids. Like, I don't have that extra money. Like, how did you make it work for yourself when it came down to investing in your own business?
Okay. Well, I'll say two things. The first thing, it's just me. So I don't have any children. I don't have any dependents or anybody I need to take care of except for my two dogs, and they're pretty low maintenance, buy their big old bag of food, and they're grooming once a month. So it's not like I have much to worry about or any liability other than myself. So I've been I don't want to say fortunate, because I don't want to make it seem like I have something that these other women don't, but I've been able to take more risks, so I mean, it's been not in this situation. I've been able to still hold my own, so to say, but it's been other times when I've been in between jobs, and this has, been years ago, when if I didn't have any money, I may not have eaten, or what have you. And I'm saying this on the podcast, and I probably have family or friends listening. They're probably like, well, why did you go through that and you didn't have to, but then also sometimes as women, as people in general, we have pride and we don't want to ask for help. Mm-hmm. So, it's things like that I will tolerate because I can do that. If I had children or people that depended on me, of course, it's a different type of struggle because you don't want them to be able to go through that. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of been a no-brainer when it comes to different investments and, things like that. And also, I just know at the end of the day, now I'm going to make being an entrepreneur work. But in the case that it didn't, I know how to go out and, and get a job if I'm about to start losing stuff, if I'm going to see my car being taken down the street or start getting letters on my home. So, I know I will do what I have to do. So I'll say that. And then when it comes to funding, it's out there. It just takes time. And like you said, knowing where to find it. Because I don't want to say a one-woman show because I've had a lot of support. I definitely have a lot of support from you now. But it's like I don't have like a structured team, where it's like everybody is in their place and doing what I need to get done. So to say, I'm still like 80% doing a lot of the things on my own. So I wouldn't have time to look for funding, or if I find funding, make sure I can take the time to do the write up that they're looking for. And with Blocal search, because this is the first year, a lot of funding, they're looking for financials. So I have financials from this year, but I wouldn't have them from before. And I haven't personally come across a lot of startup funding, but again, I know it's out there. I also just haven't had the time to look for it. I think it would be good if businesses, if they can, however they can make it work, to have somebody that focuses just on that, being able to find funding, because it's all, I think, about your priorities. If you feel that you need to really make sure that you're supported financially, then you need to put that priority at the top of your list.
Yep.
I made that initial investment on myself, and then after that, it wasn't much overhead with Blocal search because I was doing it all on my own, and because I had already paid for the development to be done, so I didn't really need too much funding coming in, because at the end of the day, it was me putting in time equity, me staying up late at night, making sure that the businesses were getting listed, or answering the emails, or sending emails, or doing whatever. So that was more so of what I needed to invest. Of course, the money would have been nice, but I could have done more marketing maybe, or things like that, but it wasn't a top priority for me.
But you made it work anyway.
Yeah, I definitely made it work. I put a lot of more other investments out there with marketing, from my own pocket. I found what was affordable for me. And to be honest, a lot of what I would get from Blocal, from the paid listings, I would just turn back around and either support Black-owned businesses. A lot of the purchases that I would make would come from that money that was coming in, because, being I'm still an entrepreneur, not a struggling entrepreneur, but I'm not breaking the bank yet.
You're definitely thriving out here. I always like to say thriving. It's hasn't even been a year, right? Like, has it been a year yet?
December 19th was when Blocal search all came about. So we're creeping up on that date. What is this? The 15th?
Yeah. Yes. And it goes so fast. You don't even know. You're like, oh man, I gotta have a party and do all this stuff for my business, because it's literally like having a baby in a way. Like, you watch it grow.
I didn't even think about
what? I say, do what makes you happy. I've done so many launch parties for so many businesses. Like, every single one of my business, I think I've done a launch party for, whether it's virtually, in person, and just invite people that have supported me, talk about what the business is, just really be very inclusive, and I think that matters a lot, especially now that we're all facing, just being at home and quarantined a lot. I think it matters to have people join into a big old virtual party if that's what you want to do. But yeah, I mean, why not?
Okay. I think
why not? Especially, I like to have fun with my work. Like, I think that's really important, to enjoy what you do. I mean, obviously, it comes from a passionate place, but I think that it's really important to enjoy what you do. So, so you talked a little bit about your struggles, and how you overcame them. Did 2020, did it have any real, it looked like it didn't really affect you at all. Like, you literally streamlined through this year, like, and grew your business, and you have so many new things going on. Like, right now, we're doing a huge promotion that I want you to talk about. Because the question is not even relevant. Like, you did really well this year. This new promotion that you have going on is something you've been working really hard on. I know, because I've been watching you work, and I know that it's been growing and growing and growing. So I'll let you tell it. Go ahead and let everyone know what this big promotion you're doing before the end of the year holiday special.
Yes, yes. And thank you for bringing it up because knowing me, I probably wouldn't have mentioned it at all, even though it is a huge project and I've been working diligently. I know I'm gonna have some videos to do shortly after this, but I have a working partnership with Michael Baisden. For those that aren't familiar, Michael Baisden, nationally syndicated radio show host. He also has his own platforms that he's going to be focusing on solely now because he is retiring the end of this year. So with some new things that he has coming up, I am honored to be a part of the opportunities, and I've been able to provide weekly video promotions. Um, Starting, it was the end of November with Black Friday and Cyber Monday, that's highlighting Black-owned businesses that people need to know about, that they need to shop with and support and spend their dollars, especially around the holiday times, because we know we're going to be spending anyway. This is one of the biggest times of the year to buy, and we need to remember to make sure we're buying Black, buying local if we can. And I have those local businesses that I'm sharing with everyone on his platform that has over 4 million. 4 million, almost 4.3 million. That's 300,000 makes a difference. And this is just on Facebook alone. There's also his Instagram platform. There's his YouTube, his Twitter. And not to mention, I share it on my page on Instagram, Facebook. I share it in groups. So it definitely gets a lot of exposure for those business owners that are out there. So, the growth is exponential when you think about how far a share can go with somebody just sharing a video. And it's a lot of people, it's hundreds of people that are sharing these videos, and in the tens of thousands that are viewing them. The last video alone, the last I checked, it was over 20,000 views.
Wow.
It got so many views in just less than an hour when it first premiered on his page earlier last week. So
that's huge.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's been great. And the best part for me has been being able to meet new business owners. Because a part of me, where my passion lies, is being able to provide people with opportunities and connecting them with others. So as I meet more people, not only does that expand my network, the Dreamcatcher network, but it also allows for me to hear what it is that people need, and how I can support them and connect them with someone. Like, for instance, if I hear somebody talking about I don't know, maybe if they're looking for gifts for their office, something to be, of course, gender neutral and that people are going to actually use, I could think, oh, hey, I know this coffee company. If you're working in a corporate office, I'm sure coffee is a staple in there. So why not link with this Black-owned coffee company, purchase this coffee to be able to give to your employees? Or soap, I know this soap brand, so I just enjoy being able to do things like that. And the more people I meet, the more opportunities I have to do that.
Yeah, and clearly you do that a lot. I mean, I've like, it's blowing up on your social media. I'm constantly seeing Blocal when it comes down to, I mean, I like a lot of the stories myself. I see a lot of the shares, a lot of the stuff I bought myself. Just being a part of it is really, it's just a life-changing experience because it's virtual. You don't have to go anywhere to do it.
Not at all. It's too easy.
It really is. So I think it is definitely important for us to continue really marketing ourselves in our Black communities. And like you said, I like to say this, your network is your net worth. You have to be able to network yourself out as much as possible. Sometimes it could just be a general conversation and just getting to know someone and connecting, you like something on their page. It doesn't matter. Just being available and open to connecting with people, I think, is a really big thing. And you have been a huge demonstrator of that in business, a leader as a woman, CEO, and I'm sure a lot of young women your legacy will live on. A lot of young women will look at you and say, wow, like, I want to, do something like that to change the world and change my community. So I think that's really, really cool. One thing that I feel is really important to touch on, which I don't think we really touch on, also when we are growing up in our communities and when we have neglect of teaching our children about financial responsibility in our Black communities. I think we need to do a lot more about that. And I don't know if there's any business on your directory that does financial education or something like that. But I think that that's something that I would love to have, you know, a part of our community. So to everyone out there listening, if you know anyone that's teaching finance education to young Black children, African-American children, underprivileged children, diversity groups, we need you.
Yes, and I have a few. So what I'll do is to make sure to get that information to you so you can share it on your platform. I don't remember them all off because honestly, it's a lot. I have, it's actually a great thing to see. I have so many financial businesses that are listed on Blocal search, and I know that all of them would be more than happy to be able to give back to their community and educate children on something that's so important.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important. So I definitely feel like this is something that we need to continue having conversations about. Yep. And I know you're a very, very, very busy woman, Markeisha, and I wanted to make sure that I got you on before you got caught up in this holiday shebang and just, there's a lot going on. Is there anything that you would like to leave for our audience? Anything that you would like to say about being a woman entrepreneur? Any advice you would like to give any of our young women out there that would like to get into business one day?
The biggest piece of advice that I always love to give is to never give up, because once you give up, that's it. So it's okay to be upset. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be mad, frustrated. You can feel all the feelings of the rainbow, but just, don't give up. And it's okay to feel them as well. It's okay to take breaks, but just make sure you get back up. So that's the advice that I would give because, we're all human. As women, we tend to have a lot on our plates. We have a lot of other things that are going on in our lives, but never forget what it is that you want to do for you, what your dreams are. Don't let that fall to the wayside.
That's amazing advice. Thank you so much, Markeisha.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we thank you so much for listening to the Passion, Purpose, and Profit podcast, and we are out.